Okay. So we're not going to be waiting for a lot of people. I had to wait a little, like 2-3 minutes from 6, right? So I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's fine. How's your day been? Just quickly drop in the chat box. Just tell me how you feel. Um, just type in chat box. How do you feel today? Okay, someone dropped his weapons. Wow, Omotoye, nice. Nice. I like your assignment. It makes sense. Omotoye is nice. Um, I'm not even sure if he's on this call. Is he on this call? I feel relieved. I finally finished my weapons. Yeah, you're on this call. You are on this call. Okay, nice. So I don't have to type. So what I want you to help me do is take 4 camera angles, different angles of the weapon, so we can see it like as if it's standing somewhere from semi bird's eye, semi right angle. You understand what I'm trying to say? So um yeah, that's all I need. There's only one person that is typing how they feel. Okay. I'll take it that everybody's fine now and everybody's ready to do any kind of assignment. It's cool. Tired hasn't been fun. Not happy. I haven't been able to get on my assignment because NEPA, that's true. Sorry about that, Lourdes Bible. Just try and just if NEPA comes, NEPA should not stop you from I know it's difficult, so maybe you just have to find another way that is profitable for you. I've changed venue of my class like 2 times, 3 times just to make sure nothing stops it, so you can imagine. So I'm actually feeling the same thing you guys are feeling. So yeah, well, nice to have all of you here. Nice to have all of you present. So here are our assignments. So I was able to put your assignments. Mm-hmm. So this is Priscilla's assignment. Priscilla, in the house? Are you in the house, Priscilla? Priscilla is not in the house. Okay, let's move on to the next. Emmanuel, in the house. You know the thing is that some people's handle and the name is different. That's why I had to make sure so I will not know it's another Emmanuel we're talking of. Emmanuel is not in the house. Laura Fermi, I know you're in the house. Can you unmute your mic? Just tell us how you feel about this assignment. How like tell me how your experience has been.
Good evening, everybody. Well, about the assignment, it was. Uh, what did I experience when I was doing it?
Ha.
No, what I remember was that the weapon that is most difficult to me was the knife,
Hmm.
especially the side, the side that is zigzag. So that was the one that is most difficult.
I'm going to ask you
And
a quick question. Sorry for cutting you. If the
okay,
blade was difficult for you, about the same knife, how about the handle of the knife?
handle was not, though I did not really get the the handle. But what I did, I just did something. I used cylinder and
Okay.
cuff.
So basically, you have a cup turned upside down. Do you know what I'm saying it?
Yes.
That was very smart though.
But I did not get the, there are two lines on the
Don't worry.
knife.
Don't worry. I can see the knife very well. I can see the things you didn't get and the things you got. But I will still congratulate you because this is actually very excellent. You can even beat your chest and tell me that this is your own version. Remember, I told you that we try to mimic life and we try to bring in our artistic flow into everything we try to model, right?
Yeah.
As you have modeled these weapons now, they're like assets. Do you know you can actually sell them? You can sell them on Sketchfab, you can sell them on even Blender kits, you can sell them anywhere.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
So
When
some games even buy them. That's
okay.
another one. Some games buy them. So you should be proud of yourself for this one at least.
I did not also get the spear very well.
Oh, so you're just saying it to have you. But overall you tried. You did well. Don't worry, don't worry. You did well. You did well.
Yeah.
You did very, very well. So you should be
Thank
proud
you.
of yourself. So who is next? Ken, you are next. Quickly unmute your mic. Tell us how you feel and tell us how you feel about this assignment. Please quickly because we have a lot
Okay,
to do.
GM everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah, GM.
Okay. Yeah, so well the assignment was tough, I won't lie. And what was tough was the curves. The curves were so it was hard. So but yeah, I spent sleepless nights and I was able to do something. So thank you.
Thank God our sleepless nights paid off. Oh. So what part of the weapon gave you problem the most?
Yeah, well the blades, number one. Yeah, the blades and the shape of the weapons too. They were kind of complicated, especially the knife. Yeah,
Everybody's saying the knife.
in fact, it was a bit sword then. I don't know, but it was hard, kind of. So
Don't worry, by the time people are done with this assignment, you see all those sword fights, people know how to fight very well. It's to just launch you into all those olden days battle. You see, let me tell you something. You see this your handle. Your handle is so good. Your handle is so good. Trust me.
thank
I really
you,
like your
thank you,
handle. And it's nice too. It's nice. You've not dropped the
thank you,
other
sir.
view that I said though. In the group. You know, I said there's one other angle I'm looking for, but I think I can make do with this. I can make do with this. So yeah. Congratulations to the four of you. You guys did absolutely very well, at least. I know some people are still trying to meet up. People should try, please, 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 please. Please, so that we can all move on together. Well, let's just drop a little reaction, like clapping of hands for ourselves. At least we've gotten to this point, you know. So just I know if you have not gotten there, don't worry, don't worry. We'll get there, we'll get there. You know, I also mentioned that not disclosed yet, but they're actually going to be gifts because you see, attending the class sef is something, and we can't just allow everybody just ignore the classes, ignore the this, and just go right for the recordings, you know. So imagine you have to learn for free and you're still actually going to get gifts. So I think that's a good one on everybody, you know. So yes, we are revision. We spoke about EV, we introduced EV and how EV used to operate in Blender. We introduced render settings, we introduced the ambient occlusion, we introduced motion blur. I explained motion blur with a particular illustration towards the end of the class, which I can remember. And then how you can operate with motion blur, volumetric lighting. I explained to you how all those prisms, all those things where you have light bouncing off objects coming in a ray. Like sometimes in some places they call it God ray light. And we explained to you how you can use performance to cut down your render time. Indirect lightning is the sense of light that is not from a light object, meaning these are not light objects, these are meshes that are emitting light. That's the difference. So now this is indirect light. Why do we call it indirect light? Because it's not an actual light source. And then we spoke about film, and we stopped somewhere around their materials, which is very important, and everybody understands materials. And you start using materials already. And I like that. I like the fact that for most of your assignments, I know why I wanted the weapons to be plain. We're going to post the weapons plain. Sorry. You can post your weapons today after the class. Tag me, tag Adidamola, and tag Superteamng. Just look for nice angles. If you want to drop album on that X, do it. Do it. But it's important for people to see, let them be jealous. I get a lot of messages. Some people tell me, wow, we are seeing people people are doing well in just 3 weeks. How are you doing it? Can I join? They will join. They will not still come for the class. I don't know, but guess what? Let's you are also attracting quality to yourself, so it's very important. Also, we've not been doing any posting. Normally I'm supposed to post what we do in class and take it to X, but the assignment is very important to me, and since I didn't have positive feedback from the assignment, I was like, okay, let me just hold on this. But I think somebody has posted on X already, which is nice. You still post again, because we want to scatter X today like this. Everybody, if it is your progress, if you know you are not among people that have submitted completely, if it's just your progress you have, post it. It's not a problem. You understand? So let everybody just know that yes, we've actually gone this far. So yeah, coming to materials now, proper. You see, EV materials use the same nodes as cycles, but then of course they don't use the same. It's not the same kind of technology. It's not the same kind of principle. But EV, remember, EV is the type of render, and I told you EV is the first one that you see by default, and then you have cycles, which is the second one. EV is faster. That's why most times when I was learning animation, most newbies started with EV, because EV pushes your content out fast and you can still retain quality. And now, if he uses principled BSDF, I will show you what this principled BSDF means. But this principled BSDF is a shader generally for most objects you can find. So with principled BSDF, if you have an object in EV, you can make it shiny, look like a rubber, have refraction, reflection, all at one go with just one node, which is principled BSDF. That is what principled DSDF can actually give you. So now, materials control the appearance of meshes, right? Appearance of curves, volumes, and everything. Material is everything. See, let me tell you, whether it's a texture you put, like was it Faramida put? I think she puts texture on her in the room. If you check, you see whether it's a texture. So far as it is in the material slot there, it's all called material. So materials are how we view the object, whether it's a texture or it's just a basic color like the cloth you are seeing, or the texture like this hair you are seeing. You can apply your materials to hair, to everything. So now they define the substance that the object is made of, its color and texture, and how light interacts with it. Guys, you know that if you have a black surface and a white surface and a pink surface, if you shine your torchlight on them, they will all reflect light different ways. It's never going to be the same amount of light that will bounce off. You agree with me? If you agree with me, just thumbs up quickly. So basically, it's the same principle with materials over here, right? So now you see they can be created with principled BSDF. There's even principled hair, and there's principled volume shaders. I'll get that. You get that further as I move on. So now a flexible shading node system can be used to set up textures and create entirely different types of materials, like tone shading. Makes sense. Do you know what tone shadings are? Now let me explain something to you. You see, even while you have realistic shading, which is like your light, naturally 3D has realistic shading. Light is bouncing off objects, casting out shadow and highlighting the brighter part of the object, right? When they call tone shading is making your object appear in 2D, in two-dimensional, which is like 2D animations, anime and all. They don't have gradual tonation from the darkness to the light part of the object. It's always in lines, right? My last one of the animations I did, which was that Solana ad of Dam that I tried to mimic cars moving on the highway, and the Solana vehicle came in. Let me tell you, Some were drawn, which was 2D, but guess what? Some were actual 3D objects, but I used tone shading to make it look like cartoon, make it look like 2D animation. That's powerful. That's how powerful Blender is. You can see that now. Yeah, it is saying that Blender can actually do animation that looks 3D or 2D anime like or normal 2D Tom and Jerry, any one you want. I've said it that this software is a cheat software. So now there are components. See, there's a major component when it comes to rendering, and I'm going to explain this to you. Sometimes I feel if you get confused in some, just before the material is ready, you can actually screenshot some of these things so that even when you play the video, it can actually help you more. Now, here's the thing, right? So now, when you assign a material to an object, it has like three shaders, which like consists of the appearance of the object. Let me tell you the first one, which is surface. Now, if you have a chair, if your chair is brown, that is what surface stands for, surface shader. The second one is volume. That's like the content of the object, what is inside. Okay, you know, like now, as you modeled your axe can actually have particles inside. Your axe can have things moving inside, like inside the, but you know you can't see it because the object is opaque. What I mean by opaque, it is not transparent, right? But guess what? These are the three components of having a material assigned to an object. To have surface, volume, which is the content, and the third one, which is displacement. Now, let me explain to you what displacement is. Displacement, as the word even entails, is like changing the top surface. That's like the topology. This is not the color now. This is like the topology. This is like the topology of the object, meaning if your chair, okay, like, okay, let me put this, meaning, let me say the edge of your, okay, the handle of your axe, right? You see this handle of your axe, if it is brown, that is, it means it's surface shader. We have tackled surface shader. We're not doing volume here. Why? Because you don't need to see inside the axe. You don't need to. This particular one, you don't need to. It's not like as if the axe is made up of smoke. If you understand what I'm trying to mean, imagine your axe is made up of smoke. Maybe you're trying to create a weapon for like a sci-fi movie, or it's like anything. So we have nullified volume here. But for displacement, imagine, since we're dealing with medieval weapons, do you know naturally our handle of axe is supposed to be like, supposed to have wooden texture, lines running all over it, like as if it's like the bark of a tree. You know what I mean by BARK of a tree. That is where texture come in. Now, texture allows us to see those lines that go in and out. Okay, the surface of wood is not smooth, is it? No, I'm not talking of refined wood that they are using for table already. You see that actual wood in the forest that has lines, you can see it's rough. That is what displacement actually gives you. So you can see subsurface and surface shader. This one controls the textures and light interaction. Now you can get texture as color and it will just bounce off without it having displacement. That is why I first brought in your surface shader. Of course, this volume one is one we're talking of how you can just, in case like smoke and fire, you can see, you can combine them with materials like cloudy glass. You see why they said glass? Why? Because you can see through glass. So now, since you can see through glass, if you want us to see that there's smoke, okay, like what if you want us to see that your axe is made up of glass, we want to see what is inside, then you can now put smoke inside, but smoke inside your axe, which that's how you can now use volume shader. So now third one, displacement, which we told you, surface, this one, it changes the shape of the surface and the volume inside it, which is altered by displacement. So now textures can be used to make the mesh surface more detailed. Now, moving on to the surfaces. Basically, now, for surfaces, these are the four major nodes that you need to know. You are going to know many others. As I am speaking to you, I still don't know so many. In the course of even putting this together, I'm still learning some. I'm like, wow, okay, this guy can actually also do this, because Blender makes it possible for you to be able to achieve your your objective without following just one path, which is very, very nice and important. BSDF, which was what I first explained to you. This one stands for bidirectional scattering distribution function. It is not very accurate, but don't forget why I'm talking about EV now. But it's not very accurate. What I mean by it's not very accurate is if you make a water bottle to be shiny, it is not going to exactly depict how it's going to be shining in real life. Even if you check maybe your water bottle's refractive index to be 0.13 and you put it in your blender too to be 0.13, you know, every object have refractive index, reflection, and everything. Do you know? It's actually calculated in case you didn't do physics. Nobody is shaming anybody here, but basically water has its own refractive index, and if you input water's refractive index in an object in blender, it's supposed to get almost exactly the same thing. In fact, the accuracy is supposed to be 0.001, if you get what I'm trying to say. Let's move on to the next, which is reflection. BSDFs reflect an incoming ray on the same side of the surface. Basically how reflection works. Transmission, this one now, most times I don't use it. Why? Because it has to be an object that is a bit translucent. What do I mean? An object that is almost see-through, meaning milk, honey, you are pouring honey, you can see if you are pouring honey inside a cup or wine or drink or anything alcohol, if you are sitting across, you should be able to see through the drink, but it's not going to be very, very strong, right? So that one now, reflection and transmission is playing. See what they're saying now? BSDF transmit an incoming ray through the surface, leaving on the other side. So there's always going to be one going towards the other side. Is what we're trying to say. Refraction, what I've been trying to say. Refraction is just basically, in case you don't know what refraction is, it's like the bending of light rays. Bam. It will go through, but it will bend. Reflection is the bouncing. It will create an angle as it's hitting the incident ray. It is going back up. Don't worry, I have the diagram for you to understand this. So see what we spoke about volume. Can you see? Very, very straightforward. You use them for fire, for smoke, for clouds. Very simple. Or fluid simulation. This is what you use for the second. Remember, we're talking of the components, of the major component, which is the surface, the volume, and the displacement. We're in the volume now. So now, if you're trying to do fire, you and I agree that there will be no surface component for fire. You just take it straight to volume. Why? Because our fire does not have a hard surface that we can touch, meaning surface color is out, but volume is going to be there. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So now, if you are trying to do fire, it's only volume, no displacement too, because you cannot see the lines inside the fire. The fire is moving continuously, and it is almost transparent too. That is why this is volume. Now, volume works because the content of the fire is actually the fire. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? Remember, we told you volume is when we see what is inside the object. So now, this kind of thing, what you use to create the fire, which even if it's a mesh, in case you are trying to deceive the viewer by bringing in a mesh and bringing in colors of fire, that mesh color, you will take it out so that it's only volume you will see. Now, meshes can also be used to create such shapes. Can you see? By removing the default surface shader, they're also saying this, and using a volume shader with the mesh shape, defining the volume bounds and textures, defining the volume density. As simple as that. So now mist is also created in a volume shader for this world or with a large mesh object encompassing the scene. They are trying to tell you that if you like to do this, most times they add mist or something or a fog-like effect just to cushion your effect of fire or smoke. For I need to use this for the next one I want to do. I'm probably going to finish it this night or tomorrow. Because I normally sometimes I don't add mist, I don't add fog because it adds a lot to your render time and your computing power. But basically, you can see that I'm actually putting it here so that even if later on you track back and check to read about this again, you find out that you can actually make your scenes better. So now you can see absorption in glass is simulated by combining a glass surface shader with refraction and a volume absorption shader for the interior of the object. Did you see? For the exterior, you are using your surface. You know why? Because this one now we're trying to depict smoke that is inside glass or anything that is inside glass. Maybe water does not use volume. Water still uses surface, does not use volume. Water does not, because if water could stay still, you'll be able to touch it, yes or no? You can still touch water like this, but you can't hold water, but water is not like smoke, water is not like gas. So basically, I hope I've done justice to that third one, which is displacement. Let's clap for ourselves. We're moving on. You see these things now. I want to see you using these things. Just a little clap reaction, you know. Let me use that one and catch my breath. Displacement is easy. Okay, as I explained to you, if you go to the forest and you cut down trees, before you even cut down the tree, the back of the tree, the body of the tree, the surface of that branch, that roughness is texture. Now I'm going to show you different ways in which you can depict displacement. Let's do this. Let's present a little bit of Blender. You all can see my screen. Imagine I have another version of Blender open because of one project I was working on, and I went and started opening that one already. So this is what we're trying to talk about. This miserable cube that is always staring at us every time we open Blender, no problem. When you come to your materials, if I close surface, can you see this volume next? Can you see this volume? But the reason why you're not seeing displacement is in the shader node, you will be able to see displacement. I need to explain this thing very well because it's very, even for me, it's still confusing when it comes to how to use nodes. I know how to use nodes, but there's always like complicated way of how to use nodes, which is not like kind of breathtaking. So if I hope by now you know that you can affect your, you can change in your interface by doing this. Just come to the center. When it shows plus sign, just drag it. You can, or you can come to the center, right click, tell you to join areas. It will now show you the arrow. If you come here, it's going to join to the, come here to join to this one. Let's join back to this one. You can come here. If you see this part, you know normally the way computers, if you want to drag something, this thing comes up. Same thing with Blender. We're dragging our timeline up. Can you see? Same way, sometimes like that day I was trying to explain something, I dragged it like this. Some people used to even work like this. Do you know if what they are doing here is plenty, but you say, okay, 3D viewport, calm down small, let me understand what's going on here, and you can drop it back. Blender is very flexible, very, very flexible. And then with the way all these things are, is the way if you come to modeling, different layouts, sculpting, different layouts. Remember we went through all this that day. We've not really gone through texture paint and UV editing. Okay. Then there's shading. Now, what I was trying to explain to you is this. Shading, remember, is when you are dealing with materials. Can you see automatically you went to material mode? Meaning, if you come here and let's just drag this guy a bit, they've squeezed our material too much and make it blue, you will see it automatically in case you don't want to do everything in layout. My point is you can actually come to your timeline in layout. When in layout, don't forget. Come here, click shader editor. Can you see everything is here? So now when Blender was open by default, this was what you used to see timeline. If you come to this place and click, you see there's 3D viewport, there's image editor, there's UV editor, there's compositor, there's text node editor, geometry node. Oh my Jesus, there's even volume, there's even, sorry, video sequencer, movie clip editor. Can you imagine? This video sequencer is just basically video editing. That's why I tell you this software is very powerful. There's dope sheet. Dope sheet is like for animations, just like timelines for animations. And you have your graph editor for animations too. Drivers, most drivers you install into the this. There's something called non-linear animation. I didn't know until this. I didn't know about this until last 2 years. You can imagine. But I knew about the principle. I just didn't know that this non-linear animation actually makes things easier for somebody. Same way we have outliner, properties, file browser, asset browser, spreadsheet, and preferences. Now, I didn't click anything. I just actually came out. See this place here. If you look at the logo, trace it. Can you see that it's actually properties? That is why properties is here. Meaning you can put properties to be this place. Your 3D viewport to be here. After all, that's why, okay, let's go to animation layout. Look at animation layout. Guys, with animation layout, you have to, this one is, guess what this window signifies? Camera. See how animation is sweet? Now you can't click anything here. Why? Because it made sure that whatever you're trying to click here, it disabled viewports it disabled viewport gizmos and all, so that you can see your animated object well. Why here is your viewport? Why instead of timeline, can you see this dope shit that's here? Same thing with timeline, it's almost same thing with timeline, the work, same principles and all. But let us go to layout. I know I'm not going, okay, or let's just do shading. Look at what we're talking about, surface, volume, and displacement. Guys, can you see? I know you didn't see displacement here, but guess what? Look at displacement here. This is a basic node for an object. If you open any object and put in a material, by default, this is what you see, principled BSDF. What I was trying to explain to you is you can actually make it metallic immediately. Reduce the specular, increase the specular. Roughness is the shininess of the object. If you drop it down, it means it to be more shiny. Can you see we can start to see light on it? You know, we're not in rendered view yet. Don't forget we're not in rendered view. If you come to rendered view, maybe you'll be able to see it more. But the reason why, even as I put, it's supposed to be reflecting a lot. It's not reflecting a lot. Do you know why? Our scene is gray. Realistically, there's nothing like this in life. Everywhere cannot be gray, same color. That's the reason why, of course, the object is trying to calculate. Remember, the software is trying to simulate real life. So now that is why if I bring in scene here now, put building here, put building here, put plane here, put different colors, you will start to see them shine on this object. Why? Because remember, there's a light source here. There's a light source here. So now that's basically how it is. If you click it back, our this thing will appear. You can zoom in, zoom out, pan, everything. See your volume and see your displacement. So basically, that's what I've been trying to explain since. So bump only. Now let me explain. Bump maps are used to add smaller details on the model. For example, pores or wrinkles on screen. Remember when I explained to you about that pore? In fact, what you are seeing here is typically an example. You can see the roughness of this blender object. You can see it. You can see it's not smooth, right? This is basically what bump is. Bump is like displacement. When in displacement, don't forget, when the third one, which is displacement. Now they are showing you three ways in which you can run displacement. The first way is adding bump maps. If you add bump maps, you are going to connect it to your BSDF. You are not connecting it directly to displacement. The second one is displacement, meaning if you have any form of you see the displacement, you can create this displacement with textures. So you connect your texture straight to the displacement. Remember when I showed you the output of the object, this surface, volume, this one you are connecting it straight to displacement. They are telling you now this is most accurate and memory intensive, but it is memory what? Intensive. If you are going to render, your renders are going to be slow. Can you see with the three of them, you can't even tell the difference, meaning you can actually get what you want. Either way, I didn't even know that. Me, I just felt that I was using displacement before. I found out that when I started using bump maps, my things were rendering faster. And since then, I just left displacement. I didn't know that according to the way their manual was set, displacement was actually even memory intensive. Maybe that's why my computer was taking the time to render. The third method, you can combine the both of them. This method, the computer now finds a balance between the both of them to reduce memory. But me, I feel there's no need to. Why are you combining the two when you can just choose number one or number two? Why? Number three, you get a very good result and you get reduced memory, but the computer will still have to calculate both your bump and your displacement. Remember, all we do is computer trying to calculate this algorithm, trying to calculate the amount of light. You know, it is only light that can tell the displacement of an object. Do you know? Sure, you agree with me? If there is no light on an object, how will you tell if it's smooth or it's rough? That's one for another day. Materials are data blocks that can be created and assigned to one or more objects. You know, one material, 5 objects can share one material, share your array. And you can also link them. You can cut a particular part of the object and say, okay, you, I want you to be blue. You, I want you to be black. You, I want you to be red. Meaning, even if your axe is just one mesh, you know, some people, their blade is a different mesh from the axe. You can make them the same color. If the blade and mesh, the blade and handle are the same, if the blade and the axe handle are the same, you can actually still, why it's one mesh separated, that you, I want it to be blue, you, I want it to be red. That is basically what assignment is. Assignment is just assigning them to the particular material. So this is how you assign them. I just gave a quick this thing on how you can assign them. So quickly, let's just see what we've been trying to do. Let's just see what we're trying to do. It's not easy, or we're going to get through it. This blender has gone to go and quit. I don't know why it's quitting. You should be able to see blender now. Yes, blender has come up. I feel sometimes blender can hear me and just do what is in his mind. Yeah, so we're talking about assignment of the object, right? So now if you come to this object, I can come to edit mode. You remember, if you are going to edit mode, tap mode edit, you cannot assign a vertex a color because that does not even make sense. Even with a line, you can't. It is only with a face, because realistically it's only a face you can actually like see different colors from. Those ones are just for you to help model an object. If you take a line, just watch. So I'll come here, add a new material, see the assignment they've been telling you. While in object mode, this thing will not come up. That is why you have to enter edit mode and assign will come out. Bring new, let's make this one fire. Fire is what color? Orange. Let's just make it, you can even come here, can you see it's appearing here too? See it as slot 2, fire, orange. You see this place we selected, you may see as you selected here, it automatically went back to ordinary, the blue, which is the material, not fire. Anywhere you select to tell you what like what it is, the material that is assigned to. This is fire. Can you see this is fire? And then okay, let's just leave it like that. I wanted to add one kind of noise texture, but there's no need. Okay, so I'll just assign, bam. Can you see? I just clicked outside. Come to object mode, look. Can move edit mode again, click here and bring in another object, new. This one is material 001. You just make it assign. If you assign it even before you do anything, even before you do it, can you see even this part of the object is showing that it is metallic, even if you don't really tell, but it's showing the little reflection. Why? Because from our view we should be able to see reflection here. Anyways, can make this one green, tap out. So can you see when I rendered view? Don't forget, let's come back to this one. You can see what we're doing so I can be faster. Please don't be like me. Your system needs to be very good so that because in rendered you should not be moving objects up and down. Your rendered is for you to see what you've done. So simple. So your object can have multiple materials. That's very nice, actually. Very nice. If you know what you can do with this piece of information I just gave you, you know that all your headache, all the headache you know in this life has ended. All. So yeah. So now we're going to talk about these are the other options when it comes to Eevee rendering. Backface calling. This one helps. If you check them, they are all in this part of in the material side. It's not the material side, but yeah. So now backface calling, you can tell maybe if you have an object. Okay, you see that cube now, ba? Imagine you cut half of the cube and it's facing us. You see that back? You see the inside of the cube, like the other side now, okay, imagine you wear your shirt, right? You see this inside part of your shirt that's not supposed to be outside. You can tell Blender you don't want to see it. That's what backface calling does. So now if our cube was open, we'll tell Blender that look, oh, see that inside side, we don't want to see it at all. Blend mode, you can make your object opaque, which is not transparent, or alpha clip, which is responsible for transparency, alpha hash, responsible for transparency. But here's the difference. For alpha clip, the colors will be overwritten by the surface color, but only if the alpha value is above the clip threshold. How I can explain this for you to understand this? When you have these only PNGs that can have transparency, right? So imagine you get a logo and the logo is just the PNG, meaning just like the logo is okay, Superteamng, STNG. The other part of the whole image is transparent, only our logo, right? If you zoom in and see the outline between where the transparency starts and where the object, the line of the logo is, that is where your threshold is. So this is where alpha clip, alpha hash, and alpha blending can tell the difference. Some of them will get it accurately, some you have to edit it other ways. I'm going to show you that more. This is preview. We just saw that normally if you open your Blender surface, if you open your Blender new material, remember when we change color, you saw it in the preview, right? So preview helps you to preview your like how your object is going to look like even before you even look at it in the viewport and all. Maybe if you're in basic mode, imagine you're in just normal basic object mode and you don't want to enter, you can just be doing and be like, okay, you want 7 balls are going to be blue, just knock all of them blue. 7 balls are going to be red, just like that. Makes you have speed, everything, accuracy and all. That's actually brilliant. Then this is settings in our rendering. Of course, while shading nodes control the appearance, the settings control the quality and algorithm that each renderer uses to render the material. This particular renderer we're using right now is what? EV. Please don't forget. Viewport display. The beautiful thing about viewport display is that while your object is in, let me just show you. While your object is in, damn. I didn't even put water beside me. Can you imagine? Guess I forgot. While your object is in um while your object is in texture mode, let's take it to basic mode now. You see this basic mode, man? You see this basic mode. Imagine you didn't need to come here and you're dealing with very complex objects and you don't want them to look the same. Let me tell you what you do. Like now imagine you are working on this place and our memory tells us that okay, like what may I remember last is this part is our blue part. But remember there is fire side and there is green material side. We can't tell it this in basic mode, object mode, dream, now, except you come here. This is something you can actually do. Watch. If you come to material, if you see our preview, can you see our preview? Different ways you can preview our objects. Can you see? You can preview them as different. So I told you, very easy. So kind of looks cool. Let's leave it like that. So now come to settings. See settings that we're talking of, how opaque. If you want it to be transparent, if you click transparent, doesn't mean it's going to be transparent until there's an transparent image attached to this principal node, which will come all the way to alpha. Guys, anytime you hear alpha, think of transparency in Blender. I struggled with this thing first time I was learning Blender because I also learned another 3D software and they all use almost different words. Anytime you see alpha, think of transparency. So, see what I was trying to explain. Viewport display. Let me first close this one. Don't know why it's doing it now. I can make it to be blue too. Can you see it's not all? Do you know why it's not all parts that turn blue? Remember that we're only trying to work in basic mode to see how it's going to be. Even in basic mode, you can still make it metallic, but this is very useless. Why? Because why are you making it metallic? If you know it's metal and you've made it metal in this your object here, which is going to render as metal, why in the hell are you making it metallic in basic mode, basic object mode, when it's just going to slow your system down more? Let me tell you something. The advantage of using object basic mode is so that when you are doing your animations are smoother. Remember, when you do animation, you want to see how it moves. It will be slow if the computer has a lot to calculate. That is why we don't do metallic. Or roughness, which is how it shines. Because tell me why you want it to shine when in your basic mode there is no light safe. Please tell me why. Why? So if you want to do fire too, it's the same thing. Come to the mode of fire, make it the actual fire color too, so that we will know that this is fire. So now if you're working on it in basic mode, don't forget this is basic mode. Look, see how it is in object in texture, basic mode. So now if you want to work on it with fire now, you work on your object, boom, 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 you are done. This just helps efficiency. You see, there's something about knowing 3D modeling and animation, and there's something about efficiency, how to make your work better, working smarter. So basically, that's just how it is. Sorry. Excuse me. So moving on, the world settings. The world environment can emit light ranging from single solid color to arbitrary textures. Remember, I explained it the last time. Do you remember how we had things that were blown out? Remember? So now, if it calculates the light emitted from your world, but it's not very accurate. You see, they're telling you this makes the lighting less precise than cycles. Cycled, I will not like you see this cycles rendering. Cycles rendering is more precise, but because it's more precise and more accurate, that is the reason why it's going to always slow down your system. So they're saying if the word lighting contribution is first rendered and stored in smaller resolution textures before being applied to the object. So that is why it is less. You know why? It is compiling the light, the textures, how the light appearing on the object. It will now put them on the object before it renders the object. It's just finding a way to simplify your work. Guys, we are at cycles. Oh, we are at cycles. The real demon. You see these cycles, eh? If you ask me, there's Blender's internal render, which is very good. Sorry, there's Maya's internal render. Cycles is an internal render too from Blender. Remember I told you the other ones you can get, which is Octane and all of that stuff, right? I cannot tell you which is better because all of them all depends on your scene and how you use them well. Remember, yeah, it's true. We have a game of cars. We have car racing, MotoGP, Formula One. Yeah, it's true. All these cars are very good. I know some are better than some. In some instances, some is when it's in their turning, some their gear, their grip. But guess what? The driver is most important. You agree with me? The same thing with 3D animation. I don't know why I use that sample, but please just bear with me. The user needs to be good. This scene you are seeing was done by somebody that they did an open Blender movie, and guess what? Every year Blender um, like Blender showcases people that use Blender for their short movie, and they will use your work as like the face of the new version they're going to do. Example, if you okay, when you open Blender 3.41, if you're in Blender 3.41 now, go to your top edge, click on the splash screen. That splash screen is what you see anytime you open Blender 3.41 at 3.4.1. You see that image? It's someone's project. And guess what? There's always going to be a reward. There's always money, like thousands of dollars, man. That's the thing about Blender. Since it's a foundation, it's also helping people to, it is when you make your own short movie and you do it in Blender, everything in Blender. They're trying to promote the more use of Blender. That's the reason why almost most half, at least I can beat my chest that half of the studios now, not just United States, almost all around the world are making use of Blender, which is very good. Remember how I explained to you how sampling works? Sampling is those small boxes. You see cycles now. Cycles is very cycles takes those squares. Very important. Don't joke with it. Ray tracing. Every light bouncing from each object, cycles captures it. That ray tracing is tracing of where light is passing, like the traces of light. Light is like a particle, right? Now, the less samples you have, the more blurry your screen is, right? You agree with me? So now basically, meaning that you see this part of, there's noise there. You see this part of this dark part coming to this place. There's noise there, but guess what? This guy sampling, the one I'm sure he didn't use 4,000, not possible, he used 4,000. Because I know when this guy did this is a very old animation. I think it was 2016 or 17 or 18. At least he made it maybe 50 samples, so you can't even really tell like that if you zoom in. There's also something that cycles use which is called denoising. See, adaptive sampling. I didn't want to talk about adaptive sampling because adaptive sampling will still kind of make your renders low, but if your system is very good, you can use adaptive sampling. All these things are modes. If you take in Blender, just select it and I'll show you in a moment. Denoising, I told you, it removes the noise, those boxes. By what does it do? It smoothens out where that dark shadow ends with where the light comes. Remember, with 3D, it's a tonal gradation from, let's say, a ball, and the dark part is there and the light part is there, right? You see that place where light and darkness meet can be very rough. That is what denoising helps. Denoising helps you to make it look clear. That's what denoising does mostly. So now, denoising for the final render can be enabled or disabled with the checkbox. I'm going to show you, don't worry. And then, of course, when it comes to rendering, um, this one is open image denoise. Okay, okay, let me just go like this because you see, your computers need to have graphic system. This is why some people, every time people ask me, now, okay, can my system do this? Can my system do that? Basically, let me not lie to you. Blender, when it comes to rendering for more quality, you need not just a very good system, a gaming system. That's what they are called. So most times, if you meet some of these people that are selling these systems, you see it's architects and people that play games that actually meet them to buy, right? Now here's the thing. Blender uses Blender. Okay, since we're doing 3D animation and modeling, and your game basically, that's how it's made. Of course, you know that we're the ones that really need these gaming systems. It's just called gaming systems because they use them to play a lot of games. They can play the games. Why? Because they have those necessary they have those necessary GPUs. That's what they are called, GPUs. Your CPUs are the things like your Intel, your Core i7, Core i9. So if you're going to get a new system now that you are a design person, in fact, if you're even using Photoshop, you would have known about this. You are not going to look for a Core i7 and you tell them that it should have graphic memory of at least 2 gig. If you have 1 gig graphic memory, no problem. If it's 2 gig, no problem. 2 gig upward, 3 gig, 4 gig, 5 gig, there's 6 gig, 6 gig dedicated graphics. This 6 gig dedicated graphics is different from your random access memory, RAM, which is your system can be 16 gig RAM. That is different. 4 gig RAM. While during the course of this bootcamp, you will learn about computers, which is good. So you know what you want. They can't even cheat you. I see people buying, you can buy, imagine someone is buying a system of Core i5 alone, and someone is buying a system of Core i5 with 2 gig dedicated graphics and they sold it the same amount. You can imagine. That person that bought ordinary Core i5, I don't know what he was thinking. He didn't know. But how will he know? Do you understand? If you are just using it for computer work, there's no need. You understand? It's not like you would know. But if you are not using it for computer work, why my computer work? If you're just using it for processing, you're using it for data analysis, you're using it to do your Excel, you're using it to do Word, that one you don't have a problem. You can go for Core i7. But if you know you are going to be doing graphics, you're going to be doing animation, you're going to be doing this kind of simulation, go for a Core i7 that has graphic memory. Tell them. So now in the graphic memory, there are different grades, which is what I'm about to show you. See the ray trace types. This is how this is what makes cycles very difficult to render fast. This is your viewer. This is you. View. You know when you tap render, you can't render something without the camera. Don't forget. It will pick this light source, the shadow casted by this light source. This is reflection. It didn't even show you refraction. Refraction is going down this way, but no problem. This is transmission. You see, this is why I was telling you that most times we don't really talk about transmission because mostly we do have objects that are like this, except you are creating a crystal, you're trying to create crystal, a ruby, diamond, water, you can name it. So you can see the camera, the ray comes straight from the camera. Reflection, the ray is generated by reflection of a surface. Transmission, the ray is generated by a transmission through a surface. And shadow, the ray is used for transparent shadows. Wow, look at all this. I'm going to end the class today. I'm going to end it here. You see the reason why? Oh my God, today was a lot though. How are you people feeling? You feel pumped up about today's topic, right? Just drop in the chat box. How do you feel? How do you feel about today's topic? Let me just see something. How do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel? We're just in textures. Oh, I didn't even know that we would need a lot of time like this. I didn't know. Maybe the next class is probably going to be 2 hours, man. I'm telling you, because I need to make sure I want to cover this. I don't really need to cover some of them, but you watch it again. It's not a problem. Once you watch it again, that's what makes it better. That's why I always encourage you to attend the class. So you watch it again. I'm just going to drop the attendance now. Sometimes I actually used to forget to drop this attendance because in my mind I thought all of you are just very, very good people. But some people, they have forgotten about that this was even ever a boot camp. Their own is just bring our recordings. So please just quickly sign your attendance. Quickly, I'm going to get questions in 3 minutes. In 3 minutes, let's quickly just tell me what your question is so we can go straight right at it. Please don't forget, immediately after this class, even if it is just your progress, post on X, tag Super Team first for giving us this very nice platform to educate wonderful people like you. Secondly, tag me. And thirdly, tag our design lead, which is Adedamola Joke. Please, your weapons, even if it's just your progress. If you are just seeing the recording today, once I send the recordings out, if you are watching it today, please, when you get this message too, I want today, Friday, to just be flooding with our assignments. So today's class was just another class for you to equip you in your journey into 3D. So really nice to have you guys. Oh, really nice to have you guys. Try and refresh. Try and refresh, if you're taking some of these screenshots. So basically we don't use transmission like that. That's what I was trying to say. Basically, don't use transmission like that. Except you are having those kind of weapons, those kind of objects that I told you of. So yeah, basically it's what we've been doing, adaptive sampling, renoising, cycles. You can see cycles is a lot, but I'm going to squeeze cycles for you. I'm going to squeeze cycles. And you did assignment again. That's assignment of objects, don't forget. And then you did displacement, you did volumes, very important. If I were you, I'll just gonna be testing. You see, the reason why some of you are able to do this is because you're just testing a lot. That's why your weapons, I can see some people's weapons safe. So please, just post on X. Post on X about how this class is and how you've been enjoying so far. I know you've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying it too. Thank you all for the class too. Thank you all for attending today's class. I see you, see all of you. So have a wonderful weekend, and there's no assignment. There's no assignment. I didn't forget, don't worry. There's no assignment. Everybody needs to catch up. I want everybody to catch up. There's no assignment. So thank you all for today. Till we meet on Monday, same time.